Beyond Infinity, A Christmas Story.
Buzz Lightyear crouched behind the Yeti at Kissies' place, who in turn was hiding behind some trees. Buzz hoped that his spacesuit was blending in with the shadows a lot better than his new friend Bumble. He had just completed a covert mission around the display, his sensors still humming with residual energy readings. He had been tasked with assessing the unusual energy surge emanating from this location. But what he found was far more profound than a simple energy signature. Buzz was alone this Christmas season, separated from not only his friends in general but from his best friend, Woody. The festive atmosphere at Kissies' place, while beautiful and heartwarming, only served to magnify his sense of isolation. He watched the families meander through the display, their laughter and joy a stark contrast to the emptiness he felt within. He yearned for companionship, for the comfort of their shared adventures. As he observed the families interacting with the various inflatable characters, children giggling as they pointed at Moosey Goosey, parents capturing precious moments on their cameras, couples sharing a warm embrace under the twinkling lights, Buzz was struck by the genuine sense of connection and love that permeated the air. He realized that these families weren't finding their joy in the external trappings of the season. Their happiness stemmed from the love and connection they shared with one another, and the experience here provided an outlet or perhaps excuse for their emotions. He recalled his earlier encounter with Winnie the Pooh, the wise old bear perched on the balcony of the main house. Winnie had talked with him about the enduring power of the Christmas spirit, about the legacy of love and joy that we pass down through generations. He had explained that Christmas wasn't just about the present moment, it was about the memories created, the warmth we share, and the connections that bind us together. Buzz deactivated his wrist communicator, the faint hum of the device fading into the ambient sounds of the holiday display. Winnie's words echoed in his mind, a comforting balm against the sting of loneliness. He knew the old bear was right. Christmas was about connection, about love. But how could he tap into that when he was miles away from the people he cared about most? He thought about Woody, his steadfast companion through thick and thin. They had faced countless adventures together, relying on each other for support and strength. Now, separated by circumstance, Buzz felt adrift. He missed their playful banter, the way they could always count on each other, the unspoken understanding that bound them together. His thoughts drifted to the rest of the gang, Jesse, Bullseye, Rex, Ham. Each one held a special place in his heart. He missed Jesse's fiery spirit and unwavering loyalty, Bullseye's gentle nature and boundless enthusiasm, Rex's nervous energy and surprising insights, Ham's dry wit and cynical observations. He activated his communicator again, tempted to send a message, to hear their voices, even if just for a moment. But he hesitated. What could he say? How could he explain the strange mix of emotions churning within him? The loneliness, the longing, the yearning for connection. He didn't want to worry them, didn't want to burden them with his own struggles. He deactivated the communicator again, a sigh escaping his lips. He felt like a ship lost at sea, tossed about by waves of emotion, searching for a beacon to guide him home. He knew he needed to find a way to navigate these feelings, to find a way to connect with the spirit of Christmas, even in the absence of his friends. But how? Buzz's gaze fell upon a lone figure shuffling through the crowd. An elderly man, his face etched with wrinkles and a distant look in his eyes, wandered aimlessly. He seemed lost, not just in the maze of inflatable characters, but within himself. A pang of empathy resonated within Buzz. He recognized that look, a reflection of his own inner turmoil, A small detail caught Buzz's attention. The man's ears were bare, devoid of any hearing aids. He was cut off from the joyous cacophony of the holiday celebration, isolated in a sea of sound. A wave of understanding washed over Buzz. This man wasn't just physically alone. He was trapped in a silent world, unable to connect with the festive cheer surrounding him. A new purpose ignited within him. Winnie's words about the legacy of love and joy resonated with renewed clarity. He didn't need to be with his friends to experience the true spirit of Christmas. He could be a friend, right here, right now. He could offer companionship, a listening presence, a shared experience. Buzz approached the man cautiously, not wanting to startle him. He offered a gentle smile, hoping to convey warmth and reassurance. "Greetings," Buzz began, his voice soft and clear. "I couldn't help but notice you're admiring the display. It's quite impressive, isn't it?" The man looked up, startled at first. Then a flicker of recognition crossed his face. He smiled faintly, pointing to his ears and shaking his head. "Ah, I understand," Buzz replied, nodding. He gestured to the surrounding decorations, then pointed to himself and mimed a story. "I think I have just the solution." Buzz reached into his suit and found a small device that could work as a temporary hearing aid. He helped the man insert it into his ear, then continued, "Would you like me to describe some of the displays? Perhaps I could tell you a story or two about my own adventures." The man's eyes widened in surprise, then a broad smile spread across his face. He nodded eagerly, his eyes twinkling with gratitude. Buzz felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of purpose he hadn't experienced since arriving at Kissies' place. He began describing the whimsical characters, painting vivid pictures with his words. He recounted tales of his own daring exploits, his voice rising and falling with dramatic flair. He even demonstrated some of his signature karate moves, much to the delight of the old man, who chuckled and clapped his hands in glee. As they moved through the display, Buzz noticed a transformation in his new companion. The distant look in his eyes had been replaced with a spark of joy, his posture straighter, his steps lighter. He was no longer a solitary figure lost in the crowd. He was an active participant in the festive celebration, connected to the spirit of Christmas through Buzz's stories and companionship. Buzz, in turn, felt a profound shift within himself. The loneliness that had weighed him down began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of fulfillment. He realized that the gift of giving wasn't just about presents or material things. It was about sharing oneself, offering kindness and companionship, creating a connection that transcended words. As the evening drew to a close, the old man turned to Buzz, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, young man," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've given me a gift more precious than any present. I am old Opa, and I haven't felt this connected to the Christmas spirit since my wife passed away. It's been a lonely time of year." Buzz's heart ached for old Opa. He understood the depth of his loss, the way grief could amplify feelings of isolation, especially during the holidays. "It was my pleasure, old Opa," Buzz replied sincerely. "And please call me Buzz." Old Opa smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Thank you, Buzz," he said, "for reminding me what Christmas is truly about." Buzz felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of purpose he hadn't experienced since arriving at Kissies' place. He had found his purpose, his way to celebrate Christmas, not in the shadow of the Yeti, but in the light of human connection, sharing the joy of the season with a new friend who needed it most. He had found the spirit of Christmas not in the presence of his familiar friends, but in the unexpected connection with old Opa, a stranger who became a friend, reminding him that the bonds of friendship and compassion could be found anywhere, even amidst a sea of inflatable characters at Kissies' place. Buzz decided that night that perhaps he would stick around Kissies' place for a while and sent his ship and one of the LGMs to go back and get Woody. So perhaps you might see Buzz and even Woody as you wander around the display at Kissies' place this year.